Hello everybody, I'm Daniel and welcome to Addicted Recovery. Addiction is not your fault. However, it is your responsibility. All right, let me explain what I mean there. So, addiction is a disease. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can begin to heal from this horrible disease. It's not a case of, oh, my I've got no willpower. Oh, I've done it again. I've relapsed again. I'm so weak. It's actually a disease. It's actually the way our brains have been wired over years of abuse. The sooner we accept just the negative voice of the negativity of beating yourself up every time you relapse, every time you make another trip to the casino, every time you have another big loss, that negative voice and that beating yourself up and putting yourself down, that's not going to help you, because that's just going to make you feel terrible about your life. And then you're going to want to escape that. And what's the quickest way you know how to escape? Go and gamble. It's just this horrible perpetual cycle that we're stuck in. Everyone's addiction started somewhere, whether it was when you were young, it could have been started in later life. Mine started in my early teens when I was 12, 13 years old. I started gambling. Whether you started your addiction to escape, whether it was escape stress, escape grief, I don't know. There's many avenues of why an addiction would start. But again, it's all irrelevant. It doesn't matter how it started or when it started. The main thing that you need to accept is it's a disease. I can still remember that very first win. That first big win. I was 14 years old and I did a £1 football accumulator. That's a soccer accumulator for any American or Aussie viewers. And there was about 2 minutes left in two of the games and they were both losing. And in literally the last minute of two games, both teams scored goals for me and got the draws that I needed, and all four of my teams come in. And I think the win was about £140, which at 14 years of age was just euphoric. I'd never had access to money like that before. I'd never seen that much money in my life. And all of a sudden, I own that money. I think it was £2. I think my bet was £2, not £1. And just that euphoric recall of that moment. After years of gambling counselling, I finally realised that feeling was what I was chasing. Every time I went back there, I wanted that absolute euphoria beyond belief again. And it would never live up to that standard. Even the times it did live up to that, I'd still go back. I'd still continue gambling and end up with no money whatsoever. The reason I'm telling you this story is there's a fine balance between, I call it, don't forget, but don't dwell. So if you only think about those big wins, if you only think about those good times, then every time you think every time you get an urge, every time you want to go and gamble, you're going to have a positive reinforcement, and you're going to think of all the times that you won, and it's going to make you think it's possible. I can do this again, and you're going to go and gamble again. However, the flip side of the coin, the other end of the scale, if you're sitting around all day beating yourself up about how terrible your life is because of all the money that you've lost and all the lies that you've told, all the deceitful behavior that you've done, you're just going to be negative. You're going to be so miserable. And like I said earlier, when your life isn't good, you're going to want to escape that. And as a gambling addict, the easiest way to escape is to go and gamble. So sitting at that end of the scale, again, is going to lead you to gambling. So it's about a balance in the middle. You've got to find that happy medium where you're happy enough to get through your day, you're happy enough with your life, but you're not completely oblivious to the negatives of gambling. That way, if an urge does pop up, I can access those negative memories that I've got from the thousands and thousands of times that things have gone wrong. Things haven't gone the way that I planned. And that helps me stay away from a bet. So it's a nice, happy medium. So to recap, to conclude, you need to accept the damage that you've done. You need to accept all the deceitful behavior, the lies that you've told, the trust that you've broken, the money that you've lost. You need to accept. I know it's unpleasant, it's uncomfortable to deal with things like that head on. To even think about them is really uncomfortable, but that is part of your personal growth. That needs to be done in order to get past this and get into recovery and get started on your journey to turning your life around. So accepting the damage that you've done, getting your loved ones on board isn't the priority right now. The main thing is you need to want this. You need to want to get yourself better. You need to want to make your life a complete turnaround. If you're needing to get your loved ones on board along that ride, then there's only so much you can say. There's only so many apologies you can do, and they'll say back to you, they've heard it 1,000 times before. If you're like me, when you've broke that trust time and time again, the only way you can earn their trust back, the only way you can get them on board is it's a long waiting game. You've just got to keep doing the next right thing, keep doing the best things for your recovery, and then they'll see all the positive behavior that you're doing, all the positive behavior that you're expelling, and that will eventually get them back on board. It's not an overnight fix. It's definitely not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It takes time. It's the only thing you've got on your side, time. You can't rush this. You can't rush the forgiveness and getting everybody back on board, your loved ones and your friends. To finish off, please be compassionate to yourself. Please stop beating yourself up for all the damage that you've done. Accept you've done it, and now you're going to turn it around and not going to do that anymore. And being compassionate with yourself and being understanding is the first step in that. Once again, I am just so passionate and so eager about giving people what I've got, this recovery journey that I've been on, sharing my experiences and giving people hints and tips on how to better their lives and beat this gambling addiction. So please hit that subscribe button up here, turn on the bell notifications, make sure you never miss an episode. Thank you.